Good evening, everyone, and thank you all for joining us today. My name is Rashmita, and I am the event planner for Microsoft Reactor. But before we begin today's session, please take a moment to read our code of conduct. We are all here to learn together, so please be respectful of other people's views, understanding of differences, being kind and considerate in the way you engage. The chat section will be open throughout, and we do encourage you all to participate. So please feel free to drop all your questions in the chat section. Let me bring in Christy, our speaker for today's session. There you go. Over to you.
Hi, welcome everyone for session number 3 in our Copilot Productivity series. Hopefully you've been enjoying them along the way, or maybe you're new. So welcome those that have actually come before and those that are new in the session. So I am Kirsty McGrath. I am a Microsoft 365 adoption specialist. My motto is no user left behind. So all of my details are actually available as part of the webinar. You'll find it there as well and in the recording. We have already run 3 of these in the series, so please feel free to go back and watch them on the Microsoft Reactor site. This presentation is available for you as well. Link will go actually into chat for you all, so the team will do that. We've also got more in the series that are coming up, more than the 3 that's on there. We've got a few more that will go live soon as well. I am going to go through a little bit around, what do you have? Prompting in emails, whether it be calendar. You do have the chat, of course, component as well as where you can find further information. So getting ourselves in, I have already done a session around the art of prompting. That was the very first session, a bit of a prompting 101, a bit of an advanced master series in terms of understanding the taxonomy around AI. So if you want to go back, you can watch those because they will certainly help you when it comes to prompting, no matter which application you actually join and come in on. So in terms of where you find it, it is right across the whole ecosystem. This is my infographic wheel as to all the various locations, and I am going to try, as part of the series, to touch on the vast proportion of where you're going to find it. Now, depending on whether you actually have just the Copilot chat, which is included inside your standard license, or you've actually purchased a 365 Copilot license, if you do, you'll actually be able to see that based on your little toggle up the top, and you'll also find it embedded inside your applications, such as Outlook. So when you start to go in and look at Outlook, one of the things that I hear an awful lot is I have a lot of emails, and even for me, it certainly helps me out an awful lot when it comes to my emails. I'm actually able to get through them so much faster because I'm not kind of stuck thinking around what I might say. So some of those challenges that can come from looking at a bit of a blank page and what are you going to write out, or I've written too much and I need to actually reduce down my content. I turn it into bullet points instead of all these paragraphs. I'm very good at doing that. Get a bit verbose. Not only that, but as a productivity specialist and teaching within organizations, apart from the fact that I'm doing adoption, which is change, comms, training, it's all about behaviors. Some of the things that we've actually have recommended over the years is that we don't send out meetings without an agenda in. And I've been in plenty of programs where the dictates to senior leadership are that if there's not an agenda in that meeting, decline it. Oh, yes, it's real. They do. They'll decline it. So what are the things that can actually help you and speed you up with using Copilot? So a couple of things in terms of playing around. What can you do across Outlook when it comes to Copilot? And where are you going to find it? So for example, if it's the classic Outlook version, you're going to have limited functionality when it comes to some of the features that you're going to see here. Whereas if you're using the Outlook that new desktop, Monarch version that's come out, you're going to get these functionality. Through the browser, you're going to get the functionality. So you're going to get a good portion of them if you're on a Mac. You're going to get a good portion when you're actually on your mobile phones as well. And so you've got a variety of locations that you can actually go to that you're going to find Outlook and its functionality with Copilot embedded in. So if you do have a Copilot license, like a specific license that you've, paid for, then you're going to find you're going to get some of this functionality. The things that I will do regularly, summarizing, extract those key points. Can you help me to draft? Coaching, because a lot of the times I'll go, can you just double check this? Maybe I had a scenario where I was a bit, frustrated. And I'm going, has that come through in my tone? I want to make sure it hasn't come through in my tone. So I'll get it to give me a bit of coaching and just double check. And I'm going to show some of these. Just the general chat with Copilot where I can ask questions about my email or my calendar of what's going on. Then we get into, and a somewhat new feature is themes in Copilot. So it generates themes and they are specific, and I'm going to dive down a little bit more around what that looks like. Scheduling meetings and events, preparing yourself for your meeting, those agenda items and things that you might need. Maybe you want it to recommend some times to go into the office. You might ask those sorts of questions or create some rules. And I'm going to do one of those for you. Or move emails. Yes, it can now do that. It's starting to come into play. And then things like flag certain emails. These are all components. Some are somewhat new. Some are still sort of about to be delivered. So when it comes to the theme, so in the settings, so this is the new Monarch version of Outlook, you do have underneath general, you've now got themes. So here we go, down the bottom here, themes. And when you click on those themes, it's actually going to give you two very specific things. It's going to go based on your location or based on your weather. For whatever it is it's going to look like, you can do themes based on that rolling picture and you can choose. So what does that look like? So let's go in and I'm going to show you over in my Outlook here. So if I want to have a look at it and I've come into my settings and underneath general, I've actually got my appearance. So I can see my themes, and in here I can go, what's the theme that I want to do? And I'm in Sydney. I've got realistic, oil cartoon, and how frequently do I actually want to have this update in terms of my background? Do I want it every week, month, or doesn't refresh at all? So if I go do it weekly, what it will do is it will create a new design each week, and I can actually apply that as part of my background. At the moment, I've just got a sort of a generic kind of an office sort of Outlook background. However, I could just say, can you create me a theme that does rolling? It's like, okay, great. I like that. I could regenerate if I wanted to go apply that. So now it's going to flow through and it's going to be part of my background. So this is a new feature that's flown in. It's themes. So from there, let's go in. So keep going. So I've got my system settings, but it's now applied this new theme in the background. Another few things to think about. Inside Copilot now, you've got drafting instructions. So you can have some custom instructions where whenever you're drafting an email, you can specify a particular tone or length. So if I have in here, I would like my tone to please be informal, for example, informal and enthusiastic, for example. So I could go, and how long? Please make it medium in length. So I can start to then dictate a few of these things. What's its tone? What's its length? So I can just go save. So when it creates from here on in, this is now my sort of custom length. Do you always say hi something? Do you always say cheers or kind regards as you close it out as well? They're all things that you can put in now as part of the drafting instructions. Yay, I like it. Okay, that's a couple of things to get yourself up and running, and it is in the presentation as well. Coming very soon, you're going to be able to do things like prioritize. Give me a bit of an idea of what my priorities are right across sort of my email and what's happening. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. I have seen it in play with being an MVP and going over to Seattle to Redmond. I've seen it, really looking forward to seeing that drop in for everyone. So it is flowing through as we speak. So then if I'm going in and I'm starting to do prompting in Outlook, what are the things that I can actually do? So I've gone into some of the settings that you're going to find, but let's now dive over into some of the prompting, and depending on where you go as to what you're going to actually get. So if I'm prompting in Outlook and I open up, I've got the prompt functionality embedded now in. So there are a few things that I can actually do. The standards now are we've got scheduling, catching up, asking, and taking action. And actions is one of those ones. It's actually a new kind of a feature functionality that's finally just sort of rolled out, where it's it's actually doing more than just doing summarizing or drafting an email. It's now doing more on that action side of things, which I particularly like. Great in its functionality. Now, if you're not sure around some of the prompts, you can actually go in, and as of the prompting, you can go in, have a look in the prompt gallery and go and see all the prompts that are available underneath Outlook. These are all tried to and tested to be able to help and support you to get things done in Outlook. Now, are there limitations? Well, yes, sure. Like anything, there's only certain functionality that you're going to be able to do. And even more so if you're using Outlook Classic as well. So a couple of things are, users archive mailbox. It's not going to be available in there, or group mailbox, or shared and delegate mailboxes. So there are some limitations when it comes to where you're going to find it. Themes that I just shown you are only based on location or weather. Okay, and only the 3 different types of styles. So they are some limitations in there. So let's go and have a bit of a play around with some of the things that you can actually do around like mailbox prompts. These are some of the ones that I will use fairly regularly. I will save and I will kind of create over and over. They're sort of some of the stock standard type things. Flagging emails, for example, help me to draft, move emails from a particular person, create inbox rules. Now, this is one I've particularly liked, a new one that's come in from an action. So let's go try some of these out because I've got more to come. So let's jump over now into my mailbox. So from here, a few things that I can actually do. When I'm jumping in, I've got I want to create and do my Copilot from here. And I'll say, for example, I want to reply to an email. So I've got an email here. I go reply. And from this, I might go, I want to draft with Copilot. So I'm getting myself started. As part of drafting, you'll see down the bottom, I've got my just quick tags here in terms of my drafting with Copilot. So if I wanted to, I can go review the meeting notes, I can go custom, and I can go discuss new pages, discuss review, keep a short and friendly message. And it might be a short and friendly message, and it says, I don't even need to put anything in there if I don't want to. I could extend it out because a good prompt is actually giving it some structure around what you wanted. But what if I didn't even do that? What if I just chose it and went, okay, just give me a short, friendly email. And what it's going to do is it's going to look through what we've been discussing and then just give me something back that I can actually work with without me even really having to do much. So it's taking some of those assumptions in the past on the email trail. And that looks pretty good. And I might then go, great, and send that off. If I didn't like it, maybe I wanted to extend on it, for example, or I go, this is not quite the tone that I wanted because I just did kind of an auto grab it. I can auto rewrite. So I can do this a few times now or get coaching on it to go, is that going to be of any benefit? Make it longer, change the tone. So it might be I want to make sure that it's a little bit more direct or casual. So it then will give you a bit of an idea of what it will actually say. I can replace it or I can put it down below. I could extend on it and give it a little bit more or retry or make it longer. Let's go make it longer. So now is aligned with our goals. Looking forward to the conversation. I'm liking that. What do I want to do? I can go back to my original that I extended on or choose. I go like that one, replace. So now it's just got a little bit more detail and then I would go in and press send. So that's one way if I was actually replying. I mean, I could extend it out and do quite lengthy. It's also how do you want it to go in there? Are you wanting bullet points, for example? You could extend out and say, do this in, bullet points instead. And I could just clear it out. I'm just going to get rid of that one for now. So from here, what are some of the other things that I could potentially do? It could be just give me a summary by Copilot. It will just scan through and say, well, this is what's actually going on at the moment. And I could ask a few things more if I wanted to and go ask Copilot. It will open up my window over on the right-hand side, and it then starts to give me some of that functionality that I've shown you. Schedule, catch up, ask, and take action. So underneath schedule, find time or schedule a meeting. Catch up. Lots of things in terms of catch up. Understand what are the key points in this email. That's just then going through. It's kind of already done that as part of my summary. It could be more though. I want to schedule some time to meet up with Dana this week. And it goes, okay, let's have a look. So it says, this is what it could look like. I can then go, great, we've got some time. I could then edit it and start drafting inside here. So I do have my draft button on an appointment or a draft button here. But frankly, I prefer a bit of a different way of doing this. So up the top here, I've got schedule with Copilot. When I click on schedule with Copilot, it's going to include the attachment. It'll give me a bit of an agenda based on what we've talked about and a summarization. I can go insert, drop it in, and if I wanted to, you'll see here, I've even got my Copilot button, and I could come back and say, I want to, add in more around, make it longer, put another couple of points in regards to this. So I could extend on it all over the place. I do particularly like this feature and functionality where it will just drop it all in and I don't have to worry so much about the agendas. Okay. So I'll just go discard. So what if there's some other functionality? Let's have a look at some of the other functionality. Ask or understand. Or hang on a second, what if I need to go back and I've got to clear it out because I want to start again? I'm going to my chat history and I'm going to go new chat to drop it off. So in this instance, I'm going to go, please create a rule when emails come in from Kirsty McGrath, make them, do I want them blue and bold? So it's creating a rule. And I'll go, sure, I can do that for you. Here's my rules, categorize, blue and bold, run the rule now. Thank you very much. And it goes, and of course, I've already created one recently. I need to delete previous rules, clearly. So these are sorts of things that you can then come in and then start to play around with and discard that and drop it in. Okay. Done. But you can see how you can get yourself up and running, just creating different rules. What are some of the other things that I will regularly do? So for example, I'm just going to go do a new chat. So I'm going to go new chat again. A lot of the times I will go find emails from Adele in regards to Mark 8. Are there any action items I need to be aware of, for example? So it'll go through, it'll have a little bit of a look. I found a few emails. Okay, so I've got a few things that are needed kind of fast. Okay, righto, who should I contact then in regards to those expense details? Because it's saying, like, I need to go in there and have a little bit of a look into it. So, well, it's actually then, okay, are there then any, can you summarize then the stuff from Megan to help me out? So I'm having a bit of a conversation where it's diving in a little bit further. Right, so I now have a few action items that I need to get back, things that I've actually missed out on. It's a whole heap that I've actually missed out on lately. I've had a busy mailbox. Now what it's doing is it's giving me a bit of an idea. Okay. So from here, it could be, right, these are all the things that you've kind of got to get a hold of. From there, I'll go based on, let's see. Let's dive into, can you give me more details in regards to the EMEA training programs? So what I'm doing is I'm having a conversation. It's going back, forward. It's then diving into and finding information. It could be find me all of the attachments, for example. Now I'm getting my summary and diving into some further information. It will give me some prompts. It will give me where it's finding that information in terms of the productivity and programs to then dive in. It's a bit of back forward, and I can keep going without having to trawl and find it in my emails. Trying to find things like an attachments. If I'm drafting, it would be, for example, if I'm going to come in and I'm actually drafting an email, it's going to be important that as part of that drafting in here, that I give it, well, what's the subject? What's the tone? Are there any source documents that I need to actually have a look at? So it could be, reply all. And as part of my reply all even, and in my drafting, so if I came in and I now go review meeting notes, okay, and then from here, I can then start to go, please review the document we've been working on, for example. And then when I do a slash, it then goes, okay, here's our, winter marketing campaign. And so I've got my document. So from here, I'll go, maybe get some coaching. How am I going on this? Instead of saying trust the tone, maybe you want to adjust that a little bit more, because it is going to look at what my tone was, because I did ask for it in the back end as to what I wanted to do. Provide a few more details in terms of driving down, so it's got then that in sentiment and the clarity. If you like some of those suggestions, you could then go apply or retry and give me a few more. Apply the suggestions. Now what it's doing is it's adjusting the tone. You can check from one to the other and have a look and go, I like it, replace it. Okay. So from here, it's just such pages for specific topics. I then would come back and go, what are the topics that you'd want to then for the new website, for example, or just adjust it. So where it's putting the square brackets, it says this is something that you might want to actually fill in. So it's recognizing that there is certain components to be able to work on. What you will note is it has actually dropped off as part of that rewrite. It has dropped off that document. So I would then come back in and put it back in again, because it's kind of going into the system and back out of the system. So you just make sure you pick and choose what it was on the list that you're wanting to grab from in the first place. So if I'm over and I'm looking at different ways that it can be move those messages, summarize, draft, find information, find everything that's got an attachment. I know I do particularly like doing the, find me attachments of information, because attachments are great, because often I'm trying to search for things. Let's go chat history, new chat. Find me any attachments about the Mark 8 program in the last few weeks, for example. You might actually say 1 day, 5 days, 2 weeks, 5 weeks. Okay. Couldn't find attachments, haven't had anything recently. Okay, it's probably a little longer ago. But these are some of the other ones, okay, the recent ones that might then be of interest. And then I could dive down to a little bit more, because there's certainly, plenty of content in here. So it could be, what about the Contoso project pro documentation, for example. Okay, there we go. So now what it's going to do is it will then bring in the variety of emails that it's actually included in. And I could then also ask, are there any action items off the back of this that I needed to do? So I'm diving in and then focusing on the various components that I really need to get my head around. When I'm looking at a particular email, more often than not, I'll go summarize the history, do it in a couple of bullet points. Like this one here, I've got it like in no more than 5 bullet points, for example, in a summary, and then say, what do I want to do or get back to them, for example. When I'm doing promptings and it's around meetings, for example, you can go into your chat. And a lot of the times I might be asking from my Copilot chat information about my mailbox and or about my meetings. Things like I want to be reminded, or what's my schedule for today, or find me some time. Because when I'm coming in and I'm starting to look at different functionality, we've got what you're going to find inside your email, but then there's the overarching looking at your email as part of that, fun and friendly side of things. So, for example, you might go create headings. Let me just copy one or two. So it could be things like summarize. Let's come back over to my Copilot. Get into chat, get into the right screen, get the right screen. Here we go. Let's just drop down. Come on, drop down for me. Here we go. So as part of my Copilot chat, when I come in here a little bit higher, it can just be summarize my inbox for unread. Look at junk, separate into a table in an order of priority in terms of reply and things that I'm CC'd on. So now as it goes through, it's looking at it from my chat perspective, but focused on my mailbox. So these are all the things then you can kind of go, okay, what have we got in there? What is it that I need to kind of be focused on? And it then drives our way through as part of that particular functionality. And going a little bit bigger, and there's certainly plenty. Find time in my calendar is a really big one that I will regularly do. Find some time between the hours of, the next how many meeting with, and I need it to be, for example, so if I go new chat, and as part of my environment here, Copilot come up. I can do it over here on the right and just do a new chat as well. Go give me a new chat. Taking its time coming up there. Find time to meet with Les in the next 5 business days between particular hours. So go, great, like that, send it off. And it's just doing one-on-one. Go back out and come back in again. Get it to load up for me. What else do I regularly do? Apart from that, it'll be, I often will do bullet point lists or put things into tables. I do love things in tables. It makes life much easier when it's inside a table. I have some other prompts that are a lot more comprehensive in there. And one of those I've just put in, summarize my inbox, for example. So this is one that I do quite a lot, where I go summarize everything of what's actually been going on in terms of my priorities. And that helps me and supports me as part of a particular piece or program. So, for example, the last one, then we'll close out, summarize my inbox. And it'll be, ignoring things that are junk mail, categorize them. At the moment, I've been pretty good. I haven't actually got anything in there. Feel free to ask. So, that's something I like. I go, okay, I'm across it all. At least it gives me a bit of an idea of kind of where I'm at. Now, if I'm doing that often and it's in the morning and I might have 100 emails, now that's a very different response than me sitting here at the end of the day, having already done a lot of my work, which can then be of value. So for further information on a lot of these prompts and what we've been doing, one, don't forget we've got the rest of the series still to come. Microsoft have got their Working Smarter blog. It's the Copilot blog, and there's lots of really good hints and tips across that Working Smarter blog to be able to support you around productivity. Microsoft have their Learn support, plus there's other links that I've actually put in here. Some of the announcements that have actually come out in 2023 and 24 in terms of Ignite to be able to help you with some step-by-steps on how to do different things. Microsoft have got their training and documentation in terms of learning how to do the GCSE when it comes to doing your prompting. So a couple of slides that are in here for you. Don't forget the scenario library if you want to see some of the different functionality you could do across the various personas in the industries. Plenty of learning across the Microsoft Learn space. So lots and lots of courses you could do around Copilot. Don't forget to go to the blog. If you want to have a copy of my reel, it is available for you. And that is also in the deck, so I appreciate. But remember, the true power of this really lies in changing some of the things that you do. And that is up to you, not necessarily so much the technology. Some of this is about behaviors. If you want to have a copy of this presentation, it has been dropped into chat for you, so you can have that in the comments as a link there, or you can scan the screen now. And appreciate you coming along and having a little bit of a look at what you can do over across Outlook.
Thank you. And thank you all for joining us today. And please visit Microsoft Reactor website for more upcoming sessions. Also, we would appreciate your feedback on today's session as it will help us to curate future session. Please scan the QR code and do share your feedback. Today's event ID is 25417. Feel free to use the presentation link. This will give you access to additional resources to take your learning further. Thank you all once again and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.